Zip, you had a question for us today?
Oh, I did, but we kind of already touched on it, just talking about politicians and should we hold them to a higher standard, and really much in line with what we talked about. I did want to ask and get your opinion on Alex Jones, that trial. He was the guy that did the whole Sandy Hook is a farce, which is really distressing. I mean, really, really distressing. It's
I'm heartened by the fact that people like him can be sued, because there's this whole thing about how do you keep corporations in check? How do you keep rich people with power in check? How do you keep even newspapers in check? And the answer is you sue them for libel. You sue them for slander. Or there are various. You can't be sued for lying, which is odd, but you can be sued for damages when you have libeled somebody. Yeah, you know more about this, Ed, don't you?
A little bit.
Go ahead.
Defamation of character. I mean, if you take somebody down, they are entitled to compensation for the damage you've done to their reputation and/or.
The worry is that where do you draw that line? It's a tough thing to litigate, like if you make a song called I've only got a 3-inch tool.
Yeah.
Is that damning his reputation?
Does he have the ability to say that I slandered him? But I was parodying everybody with a 3-inch tool.
But now these guys like Alex Jones or even Tucker Carlson, whenever something comes up, they go, "Oh, it's just a comedian. I'm just why?"
Well, it's entertainment. It's content.
That's right.
Well, that's what gets me.
And to a point, they're not wrong. And also, I think there should be. I'm a little more lefty in this, where I say put a banner that says fake news on it so that everyone knows. But you shouldn't just get to claim it in court. It shouldn't be.
Well, free speech is a really tricky thing.
For sure.
Yep.
Free speech is only a true value. It's only real if it includes speech that's horrible. Free speech, because the whole idea of free speech is you can speak up, someone can speak out freely against you, we can debate it in the court of public opinion, and we're not going to have a government or any entity telling you what you can and can't say unless your speech does damage that could be proven in a court of law. I think that's where it stands now. And of course, most of us can't, we don't have the, what you call it, the war chest, the money, the lawyers. So the Alex Jones thing, I was really kind of happy to see because one Alex Jones, big, huge fine. Was it like $25 million or something? I can't remember.
Yeah, something like that.
And he declared bankruptcy, so it may never be paid out. It's all
but
he's been burying his assets.
Yeah, well, it's part of his chess game.
But his lawyers also accidentally leaked all of his text messages and gave them to the prosecution.
I didn't hear that.
And so
divine intervention.
And so they discovered all these texts where he's like, "Don't tell people I actually have $15 million." So.
Oh, that's right. No, I did read that part of it. Yeah. Okay, when you say they accidentally leaked them, they sent
quote
them,
unquote.
They didn't know they were sending them.
They sent them and left them there for the prosecutors to find, and then. So they called him out on it on the stand. They were like, "You said you'd never, but you just sent this text 5 weeks ago."
So here's a hopeful note I have for you, Zip. Some of what we're experiencing is kind of a fad, like hula hoops. This whole this social media disruption in our lives has not fully played out yet. We're still litigating stuff. I mean, you've got one of the richest man in the world trying to buy a media outlet and remodel it. You've got governments figuring out how they're going to regulate. Some of these places self-regulate. I don't think the story. I don't think we're anywhere near where it's going to evolve to. It's still sort of the wild, wild west out there.
Don't you think the echo chamber, though, and the looping of the same stuff over and over again? I'm going back to when the hurricane struck and I watched the Weather Channel for 24/7 for 5 days. I was really out there.
Yeah.
That's all I could think about.
So you're a deer, and the cable news is a salt lick.
That's a good comedy word.
Yeah.
Salt lick.
In other words, there's nothing new here. It's just that there's freaking salt licks every 5 feet.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you you're the deer, and you got to figure out some other thing to do with your life. It's like addiction. It's like heroin.
It is totally an addiction, and I think it's incumbent upon you to sort of balance the yin and yang, and get some kind of.
And it's a danger. I know how you feel. It's a danger to all of civilization, and I agree. But when we were kids, we were taught how to hide under our desks or go to a fallout shelter if Russia sent a nuclear bomb. So every generation, I think, has its huge civilization threatening advances they have to deal with, and this is ours at this point. It's the crazy media, and by the way, the billionaires, even though I somewhat resent their power and control, they need us healthy and clicking buy on Amazon and everywhere. So they don't want to destroy it. Like if Putin goes crazy, someone will take him out in half a second, because the world is about making money. And, so far he's been able to have his little war and actually improve the ruble and made oil prices go higher so that Russia could make money on the war. And of course, we were all sold the bill of goods that as soon as he started this war, he was going to be a pariah and we were going to starve him to death. Well, oops, I guess were we ill-informed or misinformed?
I don't know.
I don't know. I like that.
It's also a lot more complicated than that too, because Germany gets all their natural gas from Russia.
Yeah.
So they're gonna freeze this winter, and prices are gonna go through the roof. And
they were gonna bite the
everyone's
hand
gonna
that heats
enter
them.
recession.
Yes.
Yeah,
Forget it.
And then also it just is. The new metaphor is the lazy hunters put a knife in the salt lick, and then whatever's licking it cuts their tongue. And then they taste blood. This is real.
Oh, it's true.
They taste blood, and so they keep licking it because they're like, "Oh, this is tasty." They don't know it's their own blood, and they cut themselves to death. So that's what cable news is. You're
Pretty close.
consuming it till consumption of death.
All right. Lastly, I read a really great article that really fascinated me. One of the revolving, I guess it's an evergreen, you would say, Zip, an evergreen topic for human beings is always weight loss. It's always how do we, how do you lose weight? How do you eat healthy? All of that stuff. And again, with the salt lick metaphor, it's tough because we love salt, sugar, butter, fat, everything. So this particular article in the Washington Post examined hibernating bears. And I'll read you the headline. Hibernating fat bears are complex. They may
Now hang on a second, boo boo.
yeah. Hibernating bears may hold lessons for human health. For some reason, and this is a really puzzling thing for scientists, bears stay healthy despite being fat and sedentary all winter. And it's autumn now, of course, so this is when they're falling asleep in Alaska's Katmai National Park. And there's for many scientists, a real fascination because biologically, when you're fat and sedentary, all sorts of bad things happen to your body.
Yeah.
And yet with a bear, they get fat, they get sedentary, their breathing slows down, their, their whole body metabolism slows to almost nothing. And they emerge months later, lean, strong, and barely affected by months of inactivity. Researchers could not explain this at all until recently. Several new fascinating molecular studies suggest that hibernation remodels their metabolisms in unique and dramatic ways that could have relevance for people. If they create a pill Fat bear.
Hibernation.
Go out for 6 months? Would you do that?
Yeah. Go ahead, Ed.
I forgot where I was going.
Okay.
No, I don't want to pass out for half a year just to get
No, I'm not saying-
spelt.
No. This is about how you could
they're
be
gonna
how you could be
extrapolate something.
fat and still healthy. For example, if human beings ate as much as a bear and got that fat, diabetes, muscle atrophy, all of that would take place, and there's tons of big bad things that could go along. But the bears somehow maintain their muscle and healthy insulin even when they're fat. So the study is focused on figuring out how they do it. And, just like Viagra, I mean, if you put it in a pill, it'd be as big as Viagra. I think if they've come up with a pill to keep you healthy. Here's the thing, though. The bears are actually fat. We don't want to be fat because we're vain. But if you're fat and healthy,
Who cares?
who cares? Yeah.
Fat used to be a sign of wealth.
In many cultures.
Yeah, back
Still
in the
is.
day.
Still is, and I understand in certain Asian cultures. So, anyway. Yeah, it was
Well, thank you, doctor.
Well,
That-
if there's an IPO, let me know. But
Yeah.
yeah. I should have led with this, and we should have finished on the anal beads cheating and shit.
I already finished, but
Yeah.
But you're fit. Yeah, so pass it along.
Anyway.
well, yeah.
All right.
Who's doing that study? Are they capturing a bear and then saying sleep in this room for a couple months, and then like do they
Observation.
put electrodes in his brain? No wonder there's a worker shortage.
Well,
Hey, go stick this needle in that sleeping bear and see what happens.
yes. Hang on. Let me look and see where the study has been done.
Because they're essentially comatose, right? They're comatose.
They're
for
pretty.
6
They're
months or something.
practically comatose. Yeah. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
Where's the study?
Do they have like a
Oh,
cave where they
WSU,
sleep?
Washington State University, at the Washington State University Bear Center.
Of course, Walt Wazoo is. How do we get fat and lazy and not die? We want to drink beer and party.
If you're interested, you can go to bearcenter.wsu.edu. So it's a Washington State deal.
That's only way I'd end up there is a typo.
Yeah, there you
Is
go.
that a grant that we, the taxpayers, have funded? I would imagine somehow.
Educational? I don't know where they get their money for that, but I'm sure there's a lot of money.
Charge Timmy $40,000 to go
Yeah.
to school in state.
If there's as much money as there is for hard-ons in weight loss, I think there probably is. They'll have all the money they need. Okay. All right, that's it.
Fat, happy, and hard.
Yeah.
That's all we can dream for.
That's a title of the episode if I've ever heard one.
It's a morning show.
Oh, it's great. Bob and Zip is out. Fat, happy, and hard. The three dwarves.
Fat, happy, and hard.
Yeah. I don't know which one I want to be. I think I want to be happy. That's the only one I want to be.